St. Petersburg. Almost everything that makes the proud city so wonderful can be seen from Castle Square or is nearby. The Triumphal Arch and the majestic streets. On the skyline, the dome of St. Isaac's Cathedral, the tapering golden pinnacle that tops the Admiralty Tower. The angel on this column bears the features of Tsar Alexander I, who celebrated the Russian victory over Napoleon by building magnificent palaces, theaters, and churches. The city had been founded not much over a century earlier, in 1703, by Peter the Great as his window on the west. The Winter Palace was the center of power. Today, the resplendent palace houses one of the world's greatest art collections, the Hermitage. The origins of the city were humble, but little of that is still visible in today's St. Petersburg. In the mid-18th century, it blossomed into Baroque opulence and playful Rococo, followed in the 19th century, as elsewhere in Europe, by a grand and magisterial classicism. What the Champs-Élysées is to Paris or the Kurfürstendamm to Berlin, Nevsky Prospect is to St. Petersburg. For Nikolai Gogol, Earth had nothing finer to show than this street. It is always busy and bustling, he wrote. It is more and more full of people with something or other to attend to, and none of them gives even a passing thought to Nevsky Prospect itself. The Russian Museum, formerly Mikhailovsky Palace, is behind the Grand Hotel Europa. On the street, the traffic throbs and the people pass. And of course, the tourists. There are flea markets to tempt them and stands selling paintings. Nevsky Prospect narrows towards the end, but off to the left and right, the side streets and the canals are inimitably charming. In 1881, Tsar Alexander II was assassinated. He was a genuinely progressive sovereign, and in his memory the Church of the Redeemer was built on the spot where he was killed. Nevsky Prospect leads straight to the Admiralty. The tower commands wonderful views of the entire city. It is as if all St. Petersburg were one great theatrical backdrop. And indeed, the city's arts might be performed in the open without loss, were it not for its famous theaters, foremost among them the Kirov Theater, which has now reverted to its older name of Mariinsky Theater. Rossi Street, 220 meters long, 22 meters wide, lined with buildings 22 meters tall. To the right is the ballet school where Nijinsky and Nureyev learned to dance. All of these buildings, including the Pushkin Theater, were designed by the architect Carlo Rossi. The city is vibrant with words, music, and movement. Pushkin lived here. So did Dostoevsky. Tchaikovsky's symphonies, operas, and ballets were first performed here. The classical ballet achieved world fame under Diaghilev and later as the Kirov Ballet, a tradition that the communist decades of Leningrad could not destroy. Peter the Great's principle of a window on the west proved a wise one. Only thus could Russia, then a backward nation, catch up with the more developed west of Europe. The Tsar had studied in Holland, acquiring modern insight in disciplines as various as anatomy, engraving, and shipbuilding. His new city was to be a port, a city of canals and bridges, a city alive with the craftsmanship and culture of the modern metropolis. And so the wealth of St. Petersburg and the beauty of its canals made it the Venice of the North. The building of the Peter and Paul Fortress laid the foundation for St. Petersburg. And the cathedral at the heart of the fortress still recalls the power of religion and of the church. St. Petersburg is a city of celebrated monasteries, churches, and cathedrals. Smolny, Alexander Nevsky, St. Nicholas, or Isaac, these are some of the loveliest. The Cathedral of St. Isaac was built when Russia became a major power, following Alexander I's defeat of Napoleon. At the same time, Castle Palace was redesigned and Rossi Street and the Pushkin Theater were built. The Cathedral of St. Isaac is the most magnificent church in all St. Petersburg. It can accommodate 14,000. Marble of every color, precious and semi-precious stones adorn the sanctuary screen, the walls, and the pillars. It is an intoxicating and overwhelming spectacle of colors, images, and sounds. The Tsars, kings, and emperors of the 18th century were in love with splendor. Perhaps the most romantic of the Tsars' residences, like a golden casket inlaid with turquoise gems, is Tsarskoye Selo, the Tsar's village. Here was the legendary Amber Room. Many was the time that the great rulers of the world gathered here for a gala ball. The Vienna Waltz had taken Europe by storm, and Tchaikovsky had established St. Petersburg once and for all as one of the great cities of music. At Peterhof, later renamed Petrodvorets, the gardens and fountains were intended to underline the oneness of the natural and man-made worlds, and to rival Versailles. Bartolomeo Francesco Rastrelli, the architect who designed the turquoise and gold Tsarskoye Selo, built this palace too, one of the Hermitage palaces. The stairs now mounted by visitors to the gallery were used in earlier times by ambassadors presenting their letters of accreditation. St. Petersburg is now a great and vibrant metropolis with a population of more than 5 million. The city has developed very much in the spirit Peter the Great created it in. It is emphatically open to every aspect of civilization, old and new. The city is a bridge linking the old culture of Russia with the modernness of the West. It is the economic crossroads where the vast Russian Empire meets the powerhouse world to the west. Every year, when the white night set in and the days never end, you feel the full magical force of the place. The dream of Peter the Great has become reality.